So again, just a fragment of a sentence, but it's enough, I think, to get the meaning of the phrase in practice. But here's the whole sentence. Because what happens in practice is that people who have a lot of money can buy themselves a really good education and therefore continue having a lot of money.
That's a true statement for sure.
It is. Yeah, I kind of would agree that if you have a good education, it helps you get a good job, which hopefully helps good jobs make good money.
Yes. So there's an expression saying richer gets richer. What is the exact expression?
It's probably the rich
The
get
rich,
richer
okay, gets richer.
and the poor
Mm-hmm.
get poorer.
Oh wow, poor,
Poor, and the poor, like poor people don't
poor,
have a
poor
lot of
people.
money,
Mm-hmm.
get poorer, become more poor.
Okay, let me repeat that.
Okay,
The rich gets richer.
not gets, get. The
Oh,
rich get.
okay, the rich get richer. The poor gets poorer.
Close. It'd still be get.
Okay, the poor
Because,
get poorer. Let me try one more time.
okay, go.
The rich get richer. The
Hmm.
poor get poorer.
Yeah, good. Poorer. Say poorer,
Poorer.
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 It's kind of a bit of a tongue twister,
It's really
right?
hard. Poorer.
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 Yeah, just think of it saying poor. I am poor,
Poor.
and then add the er. I am poorer.
Poorer.
Poor. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Have you heard it, which has nothing to do with in practice, but anyway.
Oh,
So how about the phrase in practice? Have you heard that?
I never heard of it.
Yeah. I mean, you could say like, oh, my dad is in practice. Like if you're talking about like a doctor's office or something, but that's not how it's used here.
Mm.
In practice means what really happens in a situation as opposed to what you think will happen.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So kind of like an opposite sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did we have you read that fragment, that excerpt?
Oh, I don't think we have.
I don't think we have. So would you do that for me?
Sure, my pleasure, as always.
As always, you're so polite.
What happens in practice is that people who have a lot of money can buy themselves dot dot dot.
Dot, dot, dot. Yep. Okay. Good job.
시간이 없어서 영어를 연습할 환경이 안 돼서 자꾸 영어 실력이 줄고만 있는 것 같아서 고민이신가요? 여러분도 이제 미국 원어민 선생님과 50분간 100% 영어로 진행하는 수업을 통해서 조금 더 정확하고 자연스러운 영어를 배울 수 있습니다. 저처럼 여러분들도 하실 수 있어요. 고민하지 마시고 지금 바로 시작해보세요.
And here's another example of the phrase. It seemed like a good idea at first, but in practice, it was a disaster.
Okay.
Right. So something that seemed like, oh, this is going to work. No, exactly the opposite happened. Right. I
Yeah,
mean, it turned out to not be such a great idea after all.
sure, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So how about read that one for me?
It seemed like a good idea at first, but in practice, it was a disaster.
Say disaster.
Disaster.
There you go. Disaster. One more time.
Disaster.
Yep. Very good. Okay.
Thank you.
And do you know what disaster means?
It's like bad, like natural what do you call it? Things that happen.
Yeah, usually it's often attached to a natural
Yeah,
disaster,
natural disaster. Yeah.
meaning something that has to do with nature.
Yeah.
But disaster just means it was bad, really bad,
Oh, okay. It's really
right?
bad.
Like, oh, like if I made a cake and it was a disaster, right? So
Mm,
my cake did not work out. It was like a really big mess.
okay, gotcha. Really big
Okay.
mess. Okay.
Yep, yep. And some synonyms. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, or in fact. So in the from the TED Talk, what happens actually or what happens essentially, like not what you thought, or
Mm-hmm.
what happens in fact.
Hmm.
So saying could be this, but it really is that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, would you like to try making a sentence using in practice? Can you think of something that seems like, maybe it was a good idea, but turned out not to be?
Or something different I just came up with.
Okay, that works too.
I mean, since I've made like a lot of YouTube videos,
Hmm.
not sure whether you are aware of it or not, but so basically making a YouTube video seems really easy, but in practice, there are a lot of things going on behind the scene.
That is an excellent use of it, right?
Thank you,
And
thank you.
especially if it's related to technology,
Oh God.
um, how many, or assembling something, right?
Yep,
Like,
yep.
oh, this will be the directions. This will be easy to assemble. And you're like, okay, well, in practice, that was not so easy after all.
Yes, it is. It's true.
It
But
is.
yeah.
And especially if you've ever assembled IKEA furniture, because
Oh, yeah. That's
yeah,
even worse.
that's got like the most directions of anything I've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.